energy. I invite you to just take a deep breath. Settle in your chair. Move your attention from your head to your heart. An easy way to do that is to just, in your mind, just imagine breathing into your heart. Breathe into your heart space. Artie shared with me this morning that Mother Mary Cupley said that she had finally decided on a perfect affirmation to use. God's perfect love is healing everything. God's perfect love is healing everything. Simply to yourself, say that with me. God's perfect love is healing everything. As we go into the silence, I invite you to let anything that comes up, maybe a face will pop up, a situation, just affirm that God's perfect love is healing everything. Let anything that's unlike love that shows up, just greet it with God's perfect love is healing everything. We go into the silence with that affirmation. God's perfect love is healing everything. God's perfect love is healing everything. As we bring our attention back to this room, we say thank you, God, for your perfect love, for loving us unconditionally. That there's nothing we have to do, nothing we have to say, nothing we have to be. Your perfect love is healing everything. And for that, we give thanks. So we do. Amen. Amen. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, with your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, with your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Sean. You never walk alone. So y'all missed something because at 9:25 service, I'm the one that planted the 9:15 there. At 9:25, Reverend Laurie did this children's lesson, and it was pretty profound, I thought. And she talked about that Jesus taught us to love. And who do we love first? We love God. And who do we love second? We love our neighbor. And who do we love third? We love ourselves. And then she made us all repeat it. And I think that's a good exercise. So first we love God. We love our neighbor. We love ourselves. I didn't get very convinced about that. So first we love God. Second, we love our neighbor. And third, we love ourselves. If we walked out of here and that's all we got, if we could remember that all week, we'd be just fine. All we need to remember. Of course, I have another 15 minutes of love for you. In Science of Mind magazine a number of years ago, James Redfield wrote that consciousness is contagious, that it's like a virus. And we know that our consciousness is everything, sum total of all that we think and all that we feel. And that is what creates our world. And you and I know all about viruses, don't we? Since the pandemic, today, this evening, we have the Super Bowl. It might even be a super spreader event. Who knows? But the virus that I'm interested in spreading is love. Do you love your life? Do you really love it? Do you know that you are meant to love your life, that it is your divine birthright? When you and I can realize love, that we love our life and that we love each other, and when we do that, we affect, like a virus, we affect the collective well-being of this entire planet for all of humanity. When we live joyfully and happy and fulfilled lives, our vibration, that vibration of love, levels up the vibration here on the planet. And the interesting thing is that you have the power to do that. And no one has the ability to take that power away from you. You and I have the power to love. You and I have the power to be happy. The power for everything we need in our life is right here inside of us. It is only limited by our own consciousness. One of our sister religious beliefs is religious science. It was founded by Dr. Ernest Holmes, while Unity was founded by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, and they're very close cousins. And in fact, many religious science churches have Unity ministers, and many Unity churches have religious science ministers. There's a way, if you're a religious science minister and you come to a Unity church, there's some classes you take and you're ordained in Unity. If you're a Unity minister and you go to a religious science church, you take a couple of classes and then you have a ordained in religious science, so that you can be dually ordained. He was asked not long before he made his transition. Somebody said, Dr. Holmes, if you had it all to do over again about writing the Science of Mind textbook, the faith, philosophy, would you change anything? And he said, and this might have surprised the question, he said, yes, I would have. I would have focused less on the law and more on love. And as far as I know, he didn't elaborate on that statement, but here's my take on it. You know, in Unity, we have these spiritual principles we teach, which are really very same as the law as taught by religious science. But in Unity, we talk more about love and heart. And in religious science, it's more about thinking and intellect. And the truth is, you have to marry both. You have to marry your feelings and your thoughts for consciousness, for things to work. And that's how God creates. And that's how we, as God's expressions here on earth, create. We have this consciousness, our beliefs, and our thoughts, and our feelings, our attitudes. It creates our world. It peoples our world with our experiences. And I know that you know the Bible verse, whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Charles Fillmore says that's another way of saying that for every cause, there's an adequate effect. We think a thought of love, there's an effect of love. If we think a thought of hate, there's an effect of hate. Charles Fillmore says that Jesus demonstrated the law of God and his word with power, because he spent his life trying to speak and fulfill the law of right acting, right doing, right thinking. Coming from love. So the law is a gift. And this is where I messed up in the first service. It's the way creation occurs, and just like gravity, it always works. And there's not a thing we can do about it. And I said, instead of saying darn, I said another deed. I bet I turned 50 shades of red. But it's true. There's nothing we can do about it. We create. You and I have that power to create. We're always creating. We can't stop creating. When we think that what's happening to us in our life is somebody else, something else there, doing something to us, then we've chosen to be in the role of victim. But we are victors. We are the creator of what happens in our life. We are the creator of how we experience the things that happen in our life. And so are we activating this law of what's going to be created with love? Are we letting love being the guiding force in our life? Are we planting seeds of love into the soil of law? Because it's only as we do that that we'll be truly fulfilled and truly happy. I think that is why Dr. Holmes said he was focused more on love, because it's with love that we create all that's good, that's wonderful, that we change what happens here on the planet. In Talks on Truth, Charles Fillmore said, many who have found the law of true thinking and its effect wonder why supply does not come to them after months and years of holding thoughts and fountains. In other words, wonder why they're not prosperous when they've been affirming prosperity. And he says it is because they have not developed love. They have formed the right image in their mind. But they haven't activated the magnet that brings substance from the storehouse of being. And that magnet is love. From my order of service, I read your offering blessing, and I'm sure this is the one you're going to tell us a story about. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. God is the source, and I am the channel. Now, divine love through me, divine love through me. Only when we let love point our way, only when we let love lead us in life, that we have the creations that we want. After God created all that he created in Genesis, he called it all good. And I want to say that you and I created, and there's some of our creations that we might not call good sometimes. And what I want to say is that it's because we can't quite yet catch the idea that when we create something that we don't think quite so good, that then we have the opportunity to wrestle with it and find the blessing and the lesson that we need to learn to help it reinforce us to use love in our creation. Reverend Michelle Whittington shared a story in a Sunday lesson, and it was about a baby that was born in Phoenix, Arizona. His name was Liam, and he was born with complications with his heart. And his parents were told that he would have to have several surgeries over his first year of And at 11 days old, he had his first open heart surgery. Complications arose out of the surgery. 15 days later, his little body gave way and released his soul. And on this human plane of existence, that was a profound and deep tragedy. But it seems at the same time, he came here with a mission. And I want to share with you his mission. And share with you that we know about his mission because as he was released from his body, his soul spoke to his Father. And what he said to his Father was, my mission here was to show all of you that love can move mountains. I planted seeds in the garden of love, and the garden is you. Please do not worry about me as I am with God in heaven, but please don't forget my purpose here. Life is a glorious thing because of the people we share our lives with. Hold on to one another. Be kind to one another. Nurture and love one another. This will please me as it was my mission to show you love. A little being opens his heart to love. His name, Liam, Liam, love, I-N. Awakened love in everyone that was around him. And his parents created a 26-day Love I-N challenge. For 26 days, the challenge is to choose to let only love point the way in everything you think, say, and do. So only let love point the way. Choose to live, and this is a Sanskrit word that I'm going to say, ahimsa, Ahimsa. And it's a Hindu practice in which Gandhi engaged. It means abstaining from harm or injury. And more than non-injury, it's about living from cosmic love, living from universal love. It's about developing a mental attitude in which all forms of harm or hate are replaced by love. Ahimsa is universal love, pure love. And so what do you suppose would happen if for 26 days each and every one of you went out and practiced ahimsa? If you practiced leading with love, if you practiced only coming from that place of no harm, what if every seed you sowed in the next 26 days was a seed of love? Because I was researching ahimsa, there's a website, and I encourage you to look at the ahimsa website. It says, in the presence of someone who practices ahimsa, enmity ceases. In the presence of one who practices ahimsa, cobra and frog, cow and tiger, cat and rat, wolf and lamb will all live together in terms of intimate friendship. In the presence of someone who is practicing ahimsa, all hostilities are given up. That term, all hostilities being given up, means that men, animals, birds, poisonous creatures will approach the practitioner without fear, and they will do no harm. Their hostile nature disappears in the presence of someone who is only love. So what if you and I let love point the way by taking this 26-day challenge? How would people begin to show up in our lives? Those people that were previously hostile. Could it be that they would then show up without hostility? Jesus taught us in Luke, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Pray for the happiness of those who curse you. Implore God's blessing on those who hurt you. Do you think you deserve credit for merely loving those who love you? Even the godless do that. And if you do good only to those who do you good, is that so wonderful? Even sinners do that much. But love your enemies and do good by them, so your reward will increase and you will become sons of the Most High. And there's Jesus talking about the law at work. "500 years before Jesus walked on the earth, there was another enlightened being, the Buddha, whose name means one who is awake. And there's a story that was told that on one day he was approached by someone who started hollering obscenities and screaming invectives and just had hatred and venom pouring forth. And the Buddha remained silent, remained still, just softly smiling at this person who was just berating him and being violent. And the verbal abuse became even more vicious. And the Buddha just stood smiling, not reacting. And finally the attacker stopped and asked the Buddha, why are you not moved by what I am saying? And the Buddha replied, if you are offered a gift and you refuse to accept it, who does that gift belong to? And the man said, I suppose it still belongs to the giver. And the Buddha responded, well, I have declined your gift. He refused to accept that hatred. And when the man realized that meant that his hatred remained within him, he fell at the Buddha's feet and wept. Nikki at age 6 said, if you want to learn to love better, you should start with a friendship. I've always been taught that whenever I'm going to do a lesson, I have to do something with it personally. We can't teach what we don't know. We can't lead where we won't go. And so this week I had a thought about some people that I was avoiding talking to over some years. You got any people like that in your lives? Maybe cousins or siblings or parents or friends. I had several people, co-workers, that, I had avoided speaking to. You can imagine their surprise when I call them. I have a friend who had been kind of lost to me for 25 years, and I've tried several times to rekindle our friendship. And so I thought, well, I got to do it again. And when I called her, she said, Beth, I was just thinking about you and how much I would love to hear your voice. We had a nice conversation. I don't know if our friendship will be rekindled. I don't know if she'll call me back. But I knew in that moment that love overcame in me, overcame my fear of reaching out. It overcame the feelings of dislike or disharmony that I was holding. So love overcomes both hate and fear. And And I know that love does not overcome hate and fear by being argumentative, by force, by controversy. That love overcomes through a sort of power of transformation, through transmutation, through sublimation. And you have this affirmation that you use, and again, I'm pulling out your order of service that I use on my Sundays when I come here. It's unity of will reaches an expanding center of Christ's light, mighty to attract its good, to radiate good to others. And then we say, I am an expanding center of Christ's light, mighty to attract my good and radiate good to others. Our love and our light can overcome darkness gently and easily with peace. Love can break down old beliefs and thought patterns. It can release us from anything that binds. And so I'm going to encourage you to spend the next 26 days being very proactive. Love, I am proactive. The other thing that happened to me this week is I have a little Thursday morning group that I modeled after your Thursday morning prosperity group. I do it on Zoom, and I do it with people in Jamaica and Nassau, and I've been doing it with this book called Real Wealth by Philip Smedstead. Don't know. I spoke at Unity of Keys a long time ago, and he gave it to me. I looked last week. It's not available on Kindle. It's a great book. I'm going to try to find out how to get some copies because people have asked me that. But this is what I read. And I want it to have a profound effect on you, so open your ears. Let those who have ears hear. In my career, I like to remind myself that I am not paid for how hard I work, nor even for how much I know, or how creative I am. I am paid for how much I love myself, how much I actually believe I am worth. So loving ourselves has a very practical connotation. I've heard that Charles Fillmore quote that said, if you've been saying affirmations and nothing's come to pass, then you need to use the magnet of love. This week, today, I'd like to see you choose love. I'd like for you to let love out. The mystic French monk, Pierre de Chardin, his name I'm never sure I pronounced right, says the day will come when after harnessing space, we've done that, right? The winds, we have those wind turbines, the tides, and gravitation, you see planes flying off. We shall harness for God the energies of love. And on that day, for the second time in the history of the world, we shall have discovered fire. And you and I can harness love. And we let it spread like a virus. We will be fire. I'd like to end with an affirmation. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me and through me. Together, divine love is doing its perfect work in me and through me. For the next 26 days, let that be your affirmation. Go out and spread love. Spread that virus. Make everybody sick with love. And so it is. Thank you.